Okay, let's talk a little bit about the history of the text. First, let's begin with that brief history lesson. It began in 1992 when a guy in his early 20s named Neil Papworth sent the first text to his message Richard Jarvis, a friend of his, simply saying Merry Christmas. Unfortunately, Mr. Jarvis was unable to respond due to his phone not having capability. That lack of capability would come to an end in 1993 when Nokia debuted the first mobile phone that is able to send text messages. This time the service was free, but you could only send text messages to folks within the same network as you were using. Back in 1995 is when T9 was introduced. For those of you that do not know, the system predicted what words you were trying to type based on the letters you were typing in. This was the first innovation of many that made texting easier for use. The second came in 97 when Nokia again led the market and produced the Nokia 9000i, the first phone with a keyboard feature. In 1999 and 2000 is when text messaging was able to go across different networks, and that's when it really began to take off. Numbers became ridiculous in 2002 when over 250 billion people were then able to send a text message worldwide. 2007 was the first year that we officially sent more text messages than we made phone calls. So you think about that, in a little less than 15 years, we went from seeing the first text message sent to it taking over the phone as the top communication technology. Pretty amazing stuff. By 2010, I can't even fathom the numbers we were seeing with 6 trillion text messages sent. If we think about that, that's about 200,000 text messages sent every minute of every day of every year. In 2012, we begin to see the first decline in the SMS text in the United Kingdom, Sweden, here in the US. Some of the reasons is the cost of the service. Another huge reason is the new free apps that were coming out. They're now available to everybody. And I'll discuss that a little bit more when we get to the future section of the presentation.
Some may wonder what the technology behind text messaging is or how it is possible. How does text travel over the airways and reach its desired destination intact? The technology behind text messaging is SMS, Short Message Service. SMS is used to send and receive messages to and from cellular phones. Cell phones are always sending and receiving information through signals even when the phone isn't in use. The signals are sent and received from a cell phone tower or control channel. In order for the phone calls and messages to come through, the control channel needs to know which phone belongs to which phone number. Depending on the location of the cell phone, it will communicate with different towers as the user moves across the city, state, country, and even the world. If the phone is unable to communicate with a tower, then it will not receive a signal and cannot be used. The control channel maps the path for SMS or text messages. When a message is sent, it first must go through the nearby tower and then the SMS center. The SMSC receives a message and sends it to the appropriate tower closest to the location of the cell phone and then to the destination. So what is an SMS job in the entire process? SMS formats the message in a way that it is able to travel to and from the town and still be received by the cell phone. SMS also sends data associated with the message, such as the length of the message, destination, format, and timestamp. Text messaging or texting is the act of composing and sending a brief electronic message between two or more mobile phones or fixed or portable devices over a phone network. The term originally referred to messages sent using the short message service, also known as SMS. It has grown to include messages containing image, video, and sound content, known as MMS. Text messages can be used to interact with automated systems to, for example, order products or services or participate in contests. Advertisers and service providers use direct text marketing to message mobile phone users about promotions, payment due dates, instead of using mail, email, and voicemail. It's a lot quicker.
As you can see, there's a lot of, I'm sure you know, there's a lot of current issues that are going on with text. As you can see on this cover side, there's going to be multiple issues that we're going to talk about, such as this new language that's coming out that people are using the text, not using correct grammar. But to me, at least personally, I would think the biggest one would be misinterpreting the meaning of the text, reading a few words that could be taken many different ways versus actually having that conversation face to face or on the phone. The first issue is that loss of in-depth face-to-face, or at least phone-to-phone conversation. The texting kind of allows people sometimes to avoid those tough conversations with the individual, but also diminishes the effect body language can have on a conversation.
Texting is a valuable mode of communication, but it cannot completely replace voice or face-to-face conversations. because in a case of an emergency, it's a lot easier to call someone and tell them on the phone what's wrong than to text them and then wait for a response because it might be too late. What can be done to ensure that texting isn't a death of small talk? You can set up rules for yourself so you're not going to be on the phone the entire time, such as if you need to talk to a family member or a person that's in the same house as you, instead of texting them or calling them, you can talk to them face to face. Another rule you can have while eating dinner at home would be no texting at all at the dinner table, and you actually have face to face conversations the entire time. A rule I like to follow when I go out to eat is I like to have everyone take their phones out and then stack them up on the table, and the first person to touch their phone pays the entire bill. So that way you're not going to be calling anyone or texting anyone or anything, and you can actually have face to face conversations and actually talk to people and see how they're doing. Instead of texting someone that you haven't seen or talked to in a while, you should do a video chat or Skype or FaceTime or something so that you can actually have a face-to-face conversation. Even though the person could be all the way across the world, you're still going to talk to them face-to-face.
Think about it next time you're looking at a person having a conversation, like how much are you interpreting what they're saying just based off of how their body's moving. If you look at the question from the mom had from the child on the title slide, about what does TTYL mean? What does IDK mean? This is all part of a shortcut language that the text message is kind of spawned out of pure laziness. And with our teenagers and younger children not using proper grammar or punctuation, those skills will not be developed like they once were. That these skills that they'll need not only for college but also for their work life. Another issue with the text is, as I was creating some of this video and even doing some of the voiceover here, you can be distracted multiple times by replying to text messages, whether it's sending the text, reading a couple texts, but even after that, your mind kind of begins to wonder and to think about the conversation that you're having versus the task that you're working on. This doesn't also happen with work, but also happens with our interactions with others. You think about you're having a conversation with one of your friends, but on the phone, looking at that text from somebody else, and it kind of a disrespect to the person you're trying to have a conversation with because and I know you're not fully engaged in that conversation. One of the biggest issues that we're seeing now is really the texting and driving. You can read some of the stats that we have here, but you think about it, 2010, over 3,000 people were killed while distracted. 40% of Americans admit to being in the car with someone who's driving and texting. 11% of drivers that were in accidents from the age of 18 to 20 admitted texting was the root cause of their vehicle accident. I mean, it's just it's staggering. And this is the reason for many of the laws that are now in effect across the U.S. At this point, no state has completely banned the use of cell phones, but 14 states have banned all handheld cell phone use. I can vouch for that personally. In Maryland, there's one that has the law and enforces it, and it'll cost you about $85 if they catch you using your phone while behind the wheel. Currently, 44 states, the D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, and U.S. Virgin Islands have all banned text messaging while driving. And really, the reason behind this tough stance is because you don't want to be that person, as you can see in the picture, to potentially kill or injure another human or a child. So, move on to something a little bit more exciting. That's the future. Overall, Europe was ahead of the United States in its slow move away from the standard SMS text. Their decline began back in 2008 versus what earlier I stated. The U.S. saw the decline in about 2010. There's just new apps that are out there now that are available for users to try and integrate other functions within the text, such as counter availability and other things. So the 4G technology has really allowed the use of these different apps to include these other functions, such as adding pictures and sounds and videos. And this mobile instant messaging apps, January of this year, we began to use double the amount as the standard SMS. This kind of led to that purchase, if you read recently, by Facebook of the app called WhatsApp, which is just a free instant messaging service that can transmit pictures and video for $16 billion. Facebook claims that this service is now used more around the world than if you combine every SMS text in the world. So, and as you can see in the chart here, WhatsApp is the number 2 used free mobile instant messaging behind the number 1 there. So, and in conclusion, the future of texting is not standard SMS, but will always be part of the history as it evolves into something even better. We will still have issues to contend, but if we can overcome ourselves and use the technology at the right time, it can be nothing but beneficial to us.
Text messages can be used to interact with automated systems to, for example, order products or services or participate in contests. Some 90% of American adults own cell phones and 79% send and receive text messages. The typical U.S. mobile subscriber sends and receives 357 text messages per month, and compared to placing or receiving 204 monthly phone calls, which makes opportunities for text message marketing all the more ripe. Studies say that texting is the ultimate social tool for teens. Pew found that 63% of all teens say they exchange text messages every day with people in their lives, including their parents. Also, nearly half of all teens send and receive text messages with friends daily. Businesses use text messages to confirm deliveries. With texting, you can track packages and maintain inventory levels every time as stock arrives. Messages give exact times and dates, so you know you can take the appropriate action. Companies also use text messages to send product alerts. Through text messages powered by bulk short message service software, you can give excellent customer service and deliver new product notifications cheaply and easily. Companies wishing to fill positions also rely on texting to let their candidates know they've been selected. It can also provide fast client contact. You can let your clients know when you've finished your job or need further information, even if they are in a meeting or on the road. If a more detailed message is involved, the client can follow up a text message with a phone call. You can advertise new products and services. Businesses who market to a target audience can have their customers subscribe to their texting service and be the first ones to know about an exclusive offer, a special event, discounts, or coupons. It's also a good way to interact with customers. You can build your brand loyalty with existing and potential customers through games and polls. You can also sign up with Twitter. It's free, and let your subscribers receive your latest blogs, news, and product updates. It's a good way to stay organized. You can schedule your meetings with your calendar in front of you and your BlackBerry or cell phone beside you. You can go ahead and schedule your meetings and appointments directly into your mobile device so it's always with you and you stay organized from a central source. It also provides instant reminders. Your texts are stored in your mobile device along with dates and times, so when you need an additional reminder or need help recalling a meeting time, look up these text messages. Another example of someone who uses text messaging are nonprofit organizations. Nonprofit organizations can use text messaging for soliciting donations. Text messaging opens up some doors for communication with people who may not be interested in connecting with your organization in other ways. One part of growing a list is soliciting donations from people who are interested in that type of relationship with your organization, and text messaging may be the way to do that. You can also use text messaging for promoting advocacy and providing a call to action. Supporters may be open to receive a text message from you with a phone number and a call to action. Many opportunities exist for this kind of support rallying. It's a great and easy way to announce emergency rallies and or last-minute events. Text messages are an excellent means of organizing people quickly because they make it easy to send people last-minute messages. Coordinating events is also a great way to use text messaging if you're at an event where using a walkie-talkie among staff members and volunteers is risky or challenging, or where cell phone reception for conversations is spotty. Text messaging can be a real lifesaver. You can use it to send reminders for training and or upcoming volunteering opportunities. Text messaging is particularly handy for those who constantly have a phone on hand. Another great feature of texting is that you can quickly get the word out when things change.